diligently to try to bring them to reality.
The reason we did this was because we do not have the money for the existing staff. We have to get these people off the payroll. And so this process has to go forward. Single general manager.
Hold on for a second. These people are the ones running the show here. They've been around 20 years, 25 years. They're between 50 and 60 years old. They're really running this city, not us electeds. You know, we tell them to do it and they do it. But the bottom line is we don't know how to do it ourselves. How can we lose the brains, the brain drain? How do we run our city during this process?
And the bottom line is we take out 2,400 people.
Hold my time, please.
We will see service impacts. There is no other option.
Is that I could see this train coming. It's just like it was just a blink down the road. And at this point, the city is in implosion. It is imploding from inside itself. The biggest thing that's going to happen is that this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, folks. There will be additional departures from the city through layoffs because they just don't have the money to support it. We have a house that we can't sustain. The city has a house it can't sustain.
When you think about the city's budget, you realize that about $7.3 or $4 billion budget, but almost $3 billion of it is special funds that can only be spent for the specific purpose that it was given. So operational budget is more in line to about a $4.3 or $4 billion budget. Now, with that $4.3 or $4 billion budget, what you're confronted with is that's projected on revenues from about 18 different sources. And historically, what's kept the city solvent is that we've always had those 18 sources of revenue come in at a varying rate, but they always compensated when one was down, 10 were up. The last year, the first time in anyone's memory, 12 of the 18 either flatlined or went below projections.
And this 2,400, as I indicated before, is just the beginning of what we face next year as we attempt to close the $400 million problem. So the problems that exist today will be compounded again. The reality is we have to restructure. And the layers in the organization are going to be diminished through ERIP. So library service hours are going to be put at risk. The number of mechanics and the people in the fleet operation that sustain the vehicles that allow the fire department to respond, allow sanitation to do their job, allow the police department to respond. We're losing a lot of those, and replacing that ability to get cars maintained, trash trucks maintained, is going to be a significant challenge for the organization. In the accounting series, we're losing significant accountants, and it will be a challenge to maintain our fiscal responsibility across the board, and also in HR, where, you know, I'll give you the example of the library department. In the library department, every single person in their HR operation has filed for ERIP. Will it be easy? No. This is going to be terrible, frankly. It is going to be very, very hard. But that said, this is just the beginning. Next year is worse.
Okay, but how about getting each department head to come before us before we go on recess and tell us how their matrix is going to work to provide critical services to our constituents?
Well, can I just say that each department head is only just finding out who has filed?
My bottom line is this. We cannot let people leave unless their functions, if their critical functions to running this government are gone. And I want to throw up my hands and say, oh, well, we just don't have the money and it's going to get worse next year. I want each department head to give me their org chart and explain where their vulnerability may happen that could impact critical services to the people. And I don't want that person leaving with a golden parachute future and no one filling that job. Can we do that?
Well, I think that sir, the golden parachute option is already, that horse is out of the barn.
Every single department in the city is going to be faced with exactly the same thing. We've accumulated a massive number of vacancies that we used to fund. People used to be in those jobs and used to provide services. Those are all gone, and they're not coming back.
Now, the city has already made a choice that police and fire, public safety, will be the protected bubble. That, you know, police has given up things and fire have given up some things, but basically they're not suffering furloughs or layoffs or ERIP only of civilians but not sworn. So their world is changing too, because the positions that they normally had that supported the police force, those people aren't there either. The people that fix their cars, the people that wash their cars, the people that do the administrative work, they're being eaten away as well. So even in that protective bubble, there's not some vision of the fact that will change their world too. You usually go in, and those of you that are engineers and architects know that you put together the plan on the vision of what you want to rebuild in that space before you demolish what you currently have. What we've done as a city is decided to demolish, and then we're standing on the sidewalk with our suitcases saying, where are we going to sleep tonight? But it's not a hopeless situation. What I do see is that we have an opportunity now to say, what kind of city do we want to be? And I think that more importantly than ever, if there is any glimmer of hope of advice I could give you from the neighborhood council and constituency level, it would be to make your voices heard on what do you want to see maintained that the city continues to do. And it is an opportunity, as Mr. Eberhard just mentioned to me, for smart people to look at it and say this is an opportunity for us to rebuild ourselves.